and welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for each life path number, looking at the full moon that's occurring on February 1st, 2026. Before we get into the forecast, this is a general reading. If you would like your own personal numerology reading or forecast, please book some time with me. My information's in the description box below, and I'd love to work with you. Also, as always, timestamps are provided. You can find them in the description box. All right, let's go ahead and take a look to see what this full moon has in store. Life path number 1, you are going to be working with a vibration of the 5 for this full moon, and the full moon brings in some kind of culmination. And so I feel like there's something here around moderation, and if anywhere in your life maybe you're falling within the extremes, so maybe you are overly restrictive in some area of your life, like maybe you're self-deprivating, and this energy is going to come in and help you to be more free within that area, come back to center, and maybe take a risk, maybe try something you haven't tried before, put yourself out there, overcome any fears that you may have that are keeping you overly restrictive or sort of bound by perhaps some expectations that are unrealistic, or whatever it is that you're putting on yourself or others are putting on you that are forcing you, or you believe are forcing you to restrict. And you will likely have to take a closer look at that to free yourself from those sort of chains that bind you. Or if you are more living in the excess, that extreme, and maybe you're moving through some kind of addictive behavior, this full moon will come in and help you to see the actions that you need to take and the decisions that you need to make in order to move through that and sort of heal that so that you can come back to center. So all things in moderation during this cycle, and anywhere that falls beyond that, really wherever it is that you feel out of balance is being highlighted here really strongly. So take a closer look at that. And this energy is going to ask you to be adaptable. It's going to ask you to go with the flow, surrender to what you cannot control. So if worry or fear comes up and that's what's pushing you to either extreme, you're going to be asked to look at that and move through that and manage that in some way in order to come back to center. This cycle is asking you to be more fearless, but not to the extreme, to take the steps necessary to break free, and in that freedom, come back to center. I pulled a tarot card for you all, and it's interesting because you got King of Wands. So this is something, again, that we're looking at from your past that may resurface at this time. It's maybe new clarity, new information, new ideas that may come in that will help you to release whatever needs to be released, or manage or work with whatever needs to be worked with, in order to bring you back to center with whatever this is. But it's possible that the freedom that this 5 cycle brings in for you can open you up to pick up the ideas that you had in the past that maybe you just didn't have the bandwidth to be able to manage or work with. It may resurface at this time, and you may have the energy and the motivation and, again, the wherewithal to be able to approach it differently and pick it up and go running with it. And you could absolutely see some kind of something come to fruition. It could be completion, of course, but the hard work paying off, and that hard work being something that stems from your greater awareness, your inspirations, your ideas that you've been moving towards. But again, we go back to all things in moderation. So make sure that you're pacing yourself and tempering your journey. And I think you're going to see some significant rewards around this full moon. That's very, very possible. Life path number 2, you are going to be working with a vibration of the 6 for this full moon. And full moon brings things to culmination, or it can push us to make some significant changes that will can be like a turning point in our life in some way. And this full moon, and working with this vibration of the 6, it's pushing you towards community more, or being a part of your community, your presence being in the community more, or your work perhaps having an impact on your greater community. also finding some kind of greater sense of community. So this might be a great full moon to join a meetup or join some kind of club or start to pick up a hobby that you can interact with others or connect with others who have similar interests. This is a great time to do that. This is also a really great time to check in with yourself when it comes to your standards and your sort of boundaries. What is it that when it comes to how you show up to relationships and how you show up to nurture self and others, what are you accepting, and is it working? And so you might have to speak up for yourself during this cycle. You might have to have those bigger and deeper conversations with loved ones or people who are coming to you for assistance at this time or need your time, resources, etc. Because if you can't take it on, you have to be able to advocate for yourself to say no and then not feel guilt or shame around that decision. But if you're able to show up in a way that can be nurturing and helpful and offer advice or solutions to others at this time, this is a great time to do it because you will likely see people coming to you for that assistance or that help. It's just going to be really important that you check in with yourself first to make sure that you're not burdening yourself or over committing to something that you just don't have the bandwidth to show up for. Because when we do that, we're not, it's actually a disservice to ourselves and to the other person. So if people are coming to you and asking of your assistance and your help or whatever, and you don't have that bandwidth, then it's up to you. It's your responsibility really to let them know so that they can go and seek out the service wherever, or the support with someone who can show up in that way. This is also one of those cycles where I would say shift the focus from self onto others to see, where is it that you can show up and offer solutions, offer resources, offer support. And in doing so, you will likely see that the answers to your own issues or problems can surface through shifting the focus to the external. So that's very possible as well. I pulled a tarot card for you all, and you got the Death card. And sort of in correlation to what we're talking about here with the 6th energy, I really see this as sort of a significant turning point or significant change in your behavior. And again, like how you choose to engage or show up to or participate within your connections, within your relationships. And I think a big part of that is to stop going against yourself in order to accommodate or make others comfortable. And so this is one of those cycles that can really help you to stand firm in your decisions, advocate for yourself, speak up, have those healthy standards, as well as set those healthy boundaries that are necessary. And so if you're a 2 who tends to be an overgiver or again is easily influenced by others, this is going to be one of those cycles, especially with the Death card coming through, that's going to likely be a turning point in that behavior. And so it gives you an opportunity again to, own your space and be that strong presence and say no when you need to say no. Don't take on more when you don't have the bandwidth to take on more. And having those healthy conversations, which is going to require you to be vulnerable as well as very, very honest with yourself and with others. Life path number 3, you are going to be working with a vibration of the 7 for this full moon. And so there's something here that is going to require a lot of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in others, trust in the universe, and it might require some vulnerability as well, and also honesty and making sure that you are listening to your body, but your holistic self, right? So body, mind, spirit. So if something feels off in your intuition or in your gut, trust that and then follow through. If something feels aligned or you feel drawn towards something during this cycle, then investigate it, go deeper, ask the questions, be curious. But this cycle is going to be very much about coming back to yourself and really trusting the information that you're sensing, as well as the sort of the stuff that you can't see. So trust how you feel about the energy, the information that's coming your way. Because that's going to be your greatest guidepost at this time in order to make the most informed decisions for you and your journey. Now, this is one of those cycles that you can feel kind of more reclusive. You can feel like you need some alone time, like you need to kind of go into hermit mode a little bit around this full moon. And if you feel that calling, then I would say honor it. This is a time to go deeper into your own psyche. This is a time for greater self-contemplation. And journaling would be great at this time. Immersing yourself in nature would be great at this time. Anything healing that comes up or self-soothing, seeing a therapist or a healer or a numerologist, anything that can bring greater self-discovery, greater healing, greater clarity into your life. And a lot of times the best way to do that is by drowning out the external noise, like listening to your intuition, your inner guidance system, as opposed to being easily influenced by what you're kind of receiving from the external. So it really comes back to you and how you feel, and really listening to your body, your spirit, your soul when it comes to this cycle, because it's going to show you exactly what you need to do in this moment and what decisions are going to best serve you moving forward. This is one of those cycles where you don't want to force things, but ask the bigger questions, and you will likely get the bigger answers that can help you, again, to make those deep, soulful decisions. This is one of those cycles where it's about marrying or merging the head and the heart. So you don't want to exclude one or the other, but this is a beautiful time to go deeper into your beliefs, where it is that you're maybe over analytical, where it is that you are sabotaging yourself in one way or another. And nobody else can give you the answers outside of yourself. So this is one of those times where going deeper into your own self is where the magic is going to happen. And I pulled a tarot card for you all, and you got the Page of Wands. And I love this. I love this for 7 energy because, what's going to happen here likely is that through this deeper self-contemplation, coming back to self, you will likely gain clarity, gain inspiration for the next step, for the next goal, for where it is that you want to invest your time and your energy moving forward. The Page of Wands is a new beginning. And again, it can be a new perspective that comes in for you, or again, a new understanding of present or current circumstances that changes the game in some way and gives you the motivation and the inspiration to move forward and to get a clear understanding of what are the next steps that I need to take to move me in the direction that I really want to be going in. So I would say trust those inspirations and ideas and that clarity that comes in for you around this full moon. Life path number 4. So we are going to be working with the vibration of the 8 for this full moon. And it's a full moon, so there's something coming to culmination, to closure, something coming to fruition at this time. And because it's 8 energy, you could see something happening with career, with maybe if you've been going to school, maybe you are feeling more confident in, the services that you provide or how you want to provide those services. So in other words, you're becoming the expert in whatever area this is. And this might be a time where you feel ready to take the next step in offering that expertise in some way. Again, you could see a change in finances at this time. So new jobs could come in, new opportunities. You could be closing out some kind of a contract that will bring the rewards of that fulfillment at this time. So again, just kind of think of like what could come in around something that you've completed, something that you've achieved when it comes to career or how you express yourself when it comes to your creativity or your expertise, or how you contribute in the world. So for some, that could be like a bonus or a promotion of some sort is very, very possible. Now, for some, this can bring in some kind of loss. So if you have made decisions in the past that, you took a risk and it wasn't well thought through, perhaps you might, or if it was more for just self-serving purposes, you might see some loss there. And there's a lesson to be learned through that process. So, try to keep your head above water as you move through that. But really, this is a powerful full moon. It's happening in the sign of Leo. So again, it's about following your heart, being seen, doing things in a big, bold way. And with the vibration of the 8, that is very similar to this energy. So, this is how I really see this coming through for 4s would be sort of gaining your confidence in some area that maybe there's been some fluctuations with, or maybe you've been struggling with. And so this can really help you to find your voice when it comes to, again, your greater contributions, your goals, how you want to achieve those goals. And again, finding that confidence or that sense of empowerment when it comes to that. There could be some power struggles that come up around this full moon. So I would also say you've got to stand your ground. You've got to speak up for yourself and be your own best advocate. And that's going to sort of stabilize any of that energy that might have you giving your power away. Definitely a cycle where I would say don't be over controlling. Recognize where you have control and, show up, put in the effort. But if it's something that's out of your hands, find your way to loosen your grip and surrender to it, because that need for control is just going to lead to overwhelm or frustration, and it's going to actually be quite disempowering, and it can throw you into kind of victim mode. So, and then you're not going to really go anywhere with that. But I love this cycle because it's really reminding you of the powerful presence that you already are, right? It's not about achieving more. I mean, yes, you're working towards perhaps gaining greater expertise in a certain area, or refining that, or finding ways to express your creativity, your gifts, or whatever. But it's also about recognizing the powerful presence that you are in this moment and what you have to offer in this moment, and sort of celebrating that and finding ways to move towards your goals in the most positive way possible. Because it's a full moon, you will likely be asked to move through any sort of issues that you might have when it comes to your relationship to money. So if you have fear of lack, if you have, if you're like hoarding your money, if you need a budget, like this will likely have you look at your money situation and figure out what's needed in order to strengthen that relationship with money and resources, and sort of helping you feeling more stable and secure when it comes to finances. Now, it's funny because I pulled a tarot card for you all and you got 4 of Swords. And so, like the 8 energy is a very motivated, very ambitious energy. It's very goal focused. And so, when you move through this cycle, you can feel like, you're working harder, or you have to put in a lot more effort, and like you're really kind of showing up. Things are busy. And so with the 4 of Swords coming through, it's that energy reminding you to take a break, which I think is really important for 4s, because we tend to sort of overwork. Like, we are the workhorses of numerology. And so it's really easy to become the workaholic and get burnt out. And so you want to take the break and rest before you get to that stage, because then you don't need the recovery time. So it's just that reminder to, if you're burning the candle at both ends, take time for rest and schedule time in for play. And again, rest and rejuvenation. You're going to need it, especially around this 8 cycle. So make sure that you're listening to your body and what your body needs. And also, balancing that home life with work life is going to be important around this cycle as well. Life path number 5, you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 9 for this full moon. And so you have like the strong closure type of energy with the 9. And then you're also working with a full moon, which can bring in closure, culmination, things coming to fruition, that sort of thing. And so there's definitely some things that you might see fall away at this time, but it doesn't have to be in a dramatic fashion. It can just be you're tying up loose ends, you're getting organized, you're clearing the clutter, you're finishing projects. Maybe you've been procrastinating, and this is a time where you're like very focused and dedicated to getting it off your plate. And so you could really see sort of the push in that direction. Also, when we're talking about 9 cycles, 9 energy is sort of that divine intervention type of energy. And so what I mean by that is, up until this point, you may have had the invitation come through to close things out, again, maybe end something, release something. It could be belief systems. It could be a relationship. It could be, you name it, toxic job, you name it. And if we haven't taken the invitation, then when a 9 cycle comes through, it comes in divine intervention to remove what needs removing that's standing in our way or sabotaging our growth or forward momentum and personal evolution. So you could see some of that at this time, especially with this very strong like endings, closure type of energy between the 9 and then the full moon. So just kind of keep that in mind. But remember, what closes out creates space for the new start, the new beginning, the new adventure to come in. And so whatever it is that you are tying up those loose ends on, or clearing the clutter, or ending in some fashion, you're just making space for something that is next that is aligned in a much more, or maybe in a different way, right? And so it's time to start that new chapter perhaps, or prepare for it. 9 cycles can also be about preparation, preparing and planning for the next cycle. So you could also see a lot of ideas come in at this time, inspirations, intuitive hits, creative endeavors, or opportunities to begin something new. Now, one thing I would caution against is starting something significant during this cycle. And so really like at the time of the full moon, like a couple days, maybe 3 days before, 3 days after, and the full moon. Because anything we kind of initiate that's brand new during a 9 cycle, usually we have to revisit it, or it doesn't have legs, like it doesn't have staying power. It's not really sustainable. This is more of like that time to revisit and review and plan and get your ducks in a row for what you want to initiate once this cycle completes. So if you can avoid it, I would say don't start anything new at this time, but clean up and finish up the things that need finishing up. And then pay attention to the ideas and inspirations that come for you around this time. Pay attention to your dreams, your daydreams, what someone says to you that hits. And once this cycle has run its course, then take the big steps and the big initiations to initiate and start whatever it is that came in for you through this 9 cycle. Now, I pulled a tarot card for you all, and you got the Ace of Wands. And so this just sort of confirms for me that there will likely be some really big inspirations or ideas that come in for you. And when we're in a 9 cycle, the veil is thin, like the channels are wide open. So again, through your dreams, through your daydreams, through just those intuitive hits that you get, write it down if you don't know what to do with it just yet, because it's likely that there will be some significant clarity, big ideas, big inspirations that come in around this time that you will have to pick back up in the future and do something with and sort of figure it out to bring it to life. So definitely with the Ace of Wands coming through, yeah, there's some kind of new idea, new start, new opportunity that is just at the beginning stage. It's the point of the idea coming in, so the point of conception. So this is kind of an exciting time, but you want to make sure you clean up what needs cleaning up so that you're ready for this new start that wants to come in. Life path number 6, you are going to be working with the very big and bold energy of the 1 for this full moon. And though this is a full moon that usually can bring in closure, completion, things coming to fruition, that sort of thing, it's happening in the sign of Leo. And so Leo is very much about that sense of vitality and being seen and getting your messaging, your work, your words out into the world. It's that very bold presence and kind of leadership energy and following from your heart, that sort of thing. And so working with this 1 cycle for this full moon, I feel like this is going to probably ask you to take a closer look at, like, how are you investing in yourself? How are you investing in what you want to achieve, what your goals are, how you see yourself, maybe your self-care. It's really going to shift the focus onto you, of course, but also like, what are you doing? What decisions are you making in order to create the experience that you want to have? And it's going to ask you to take risks, and it's going to ask you to be bold in these new belief systems or endeavors or initiations, new starts, whatever may come in for you at this time. This is one of those cycles that reminds you that it's important for you to take up space and to be your own best advocate and to speak up for what you need. Also to follow your motivation and to show up and put in the effort where that effort is needed in order to see, to bring to life the things that you want to bring to life. And it reminds you that nothing happens without you. And so you have to make the decision. First, you have to answer the bigger questions about what you want and then what you need to do in order to make that happen. And then taking the first steps. 1 energy is never an idle energy. So it's pushing you to get started, to do the thing, whatever the thing may be for you. It's also helping you to tap into your own genius, your own innovation, and become that sort of master problem solver and decide what needs to happen, again, in order for you to achieve the goals that you've set up for yourself. And those goals can be around physical health, around relationships, career, again, however it shows up for you. But it's reminding you that you are the most effective and powerful leader within your own life. So where is it that you have to take those reins and make it happen? It's also one of those energies that can help to facilitate greater self-confidence. And a lot of times the way that we build that confidence is by doing the thing, taking the risk, following through, and learning what we need to learn through that experience. So this is one of those times where if you want to launch something, if there's something that you want to initiate or start, this is such a beautiful time to do it. Very, very supportive time to do that. This is a great time for you to stand in your power, to again, speak up for yourself, to advocate for yourself. And again, not only recognize what it is that you need to thrive, but to be able to express that so that you can make sure that those, those standards are met, so to speak. So this is not the time to talk about the things. It's the time to take action. You are the visionary of your own life. And in this moment, you're being asked to take the steps towards that vision. So what is the vision? And what is it that you need to do in order to get there? I pulled a tarot card for you all and you got the moon. And so this just goes back to taking a risk and trusting yourself when it comes to that risk or when it comes to making that decision. You're going to have to fully trust what you feel is best for you in this moment, what you feel you need. And though you don't know how it's going to turn out, you can't see the full path. It will be illuminated step by step, but first you have to take the first step. There's a lot about, not moving backwards, like not going into the past, but just looking to the future, making the decisions to the best, following your intuition to make the decisions that feel right and aligned for you, and trusting yourself. But this is a lot of risk-taking type of energy. So if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't ask the questions, if you don't try, then you're never going to know. And with these energies combined, it's pushing you in that direction. Life path number 7, you all are going to be working with the master number 11-2 for this full moon. This is beautiful energy for this illumination. So you're going to feel it probably 3 days before, 3 days after, and very potently at the time of this full moon. This is a beautiful energy when it comes to inspiration and leadership. So anytime I see someone who has 11-2 in their chart somewhere, especially as a life path, but even if they have it in a prominent placement, this is someone who's born to be a leader, but who's born to inspire. And when you move through cycles of the 11-2, first is pushing you to pay attention to what inspires you and to move in that direction, to make decisions and take actions that help to facilitate more of that. But also, it helps to put you in a position of being influential, being inspiring in some way. And usually the only way that we can be inspiring is when we're doing something that inspires us. So it's sort of that lead by example type of energy. If you're doing what inspires you and your light is shining, guess what? Other people see that, they're inspired by it, and it inspires them to do what inspires them. You see what I'm saying? So it has this knockoff effect, and it can be incredibly beautiful. So as you move through this cycle, you will likely be pushed in that direction. What inspires you? What do you feel naturally sort of inclined to pursue? Or where do you feel like your talents lie? What lights you up when you're doing whatever it is? Doesn't mean it won't bring in fear or just sort of that lack of confidence that you're going to have to move through. But what inspires you, and what is it that you can kind of sink your teeth into around this full moon that not only inspires you, but has the potential to inspire others and put you in that role. This is about creativity and finding the creative outlets that can have a greater impact on your community, on your family, on the greater community, which again, the intention is not to inspire, because then it becomes manipulative and controlling. It's more about just, again, doing what inspires you. What do you feel called towards at this time? What is a creative outlet that you feel drawn towards, where you can share your wisdom, your messaging, not in a way to influence others necessarily or manipulate others, obviously, but just in a way of doing what lights you up, what you feel drawn towards, what you feel called towards. This is a time to explore that, and not only explore it, but to take the first steps in that direction. This is also a cycle where it's going to likely require greater patience when it comes to your relationships, your relationship with yourself. So having greater patience for yourself and also your relationship with others. This is a time to step up in a way where you have an opportunity to serve greater group dynamics. So it's likely that whatever you initiate at this time, or again, whatever you feel inspired by and you pursue, has the potential to impact a large group of people, a large community. And so you're able to, during this time, sort of recognize and use your creativity, your intuition, and your healing abilities for the benefit of others. So again, if you feel self-doubt or deterred in some way, maybe lacking confidence, those are things you're going to have to overcome in order to tap into that inspiration, that creativity, and to step into that inspirational leader energy. This cycle is about leadership, about independence and confidence, and also about diplomacy, patience, and love. Doing more of what you love and infusing that love into everything that you put out into the world. I pulled a tarot card for you all and just more beautiful energy. You got the star card. And so this is about dreams coming true, wishes being granted, things falling into place as if by magic. I mean, you've done the work to get here, but this is you saying yes to, again, what inspires you, and the universe tripping over itself to conspire to help you to make it happen, to bring it to life. Because not only will it have a beautiful effect on you, it will have a greater impact on others. And that, when we're in that vibe, then we are really like touching on our soul's calling. So beautiful energy here. You could see a lot of beautiful opportunities coming at this time, and they might come in the form of an idea that you're meant to follow through on. Remember, you have double ones here. So this is leadership energy. You are the leader within your experience. So pay attention to what ideas, inspirations, intuitive downloads that you get at this time, because they are gifts from the universe. They are gifts from your soul, knowing that you're ready to pursue this, knowing that you're ready to get started on this new path. So beautiful energy here. You're very, very much supported. It doesn't happen without you, not without, with those double ones. You're the star of the show. So what do you want to bring to life now? This is a beautiful time to get started. Life path number 8, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 3 for this full moon. And so if the full moon is the spotlight, it's shining on you. And so this is an opportunity to test your ability to shine your light. And really it's about putting yourself out into the world, sharing your creativity, sharing your whatever, if you have like some kind of creative launch or any kind of launch or business endeavor, or even if there's a different way that you want to express yourself, maybe through the way that you communicate, maybe through the way that you dress, maybe the way that you show up into, your environment. This is a great time to go for it, to put yourself out on a limb and see what happens. I mean, this is like one of those energies that says, you're ready to share whatever it is that you're looking to share. And this will help you to find your confidence. It will push you to find your confidence. And sometimes in order to find our confidence, we have to do the thing to show to prove to ourselves that we can do the thing. And so this might be one of those times where you feel kind of ready to put yourself out there. And this can also be because it's a very social energy. So maybe you're going to put yourself out there to start dating again, or to ask someone on a date, or to maybe join some kind of a club or a hobby to connect with people in some way. This is definitely one of those energies that's pushing you to collaborate, to share ideas, to brainstorm, to try new things, especially those new things that feel very true and authentic for you. But it's definitely about finding your confidence. And sometimes that's something that 8s can struggle with. And once you find that confidence, then that helps you to take the risks that are necessary for your 8 energy. So this is one of those times too, where you can feel the creative juices really flowing, and you might find yourself wanting to find ways to express that creativity. So some kind of new outlet, perhaps. Communication is also a strong theme around this full moon. And so not only like how you communicate, but again, sharing your greater messaging and making sure that, again, it's coming from a place of truth and authenticity, and that there's integrity behind it, and the intention for that messaging is good. So you don't have to kind of go back and clean it up. But I think you'll find that, you're able to get your message across quite strongly at this time, and it can land in a way that can be quite diplomatic, where people are able to understand and digest it as opposed to getting their defenses up. So you kind of have the energy of the 3 behind you to be able to, like people are listening. So what do you want to say? What do you want to share? And this is a great time to initiate conversations and have those deeper conversations to gain that understanding or to seek that understanding, especially when it comes to relationships or even people you're just meeting and connecting with, because that's going to help you to understand, like, okay, these people we can work well together, and what do we want to create together, and all those things. Also, finding your words to ask for what you need or to express your creative idea, especially if it's some way that feels new or different or kind of pushes you beyond your comfort zone. Because remember, we find our confidence through doing the things that we think are difficult or that we're not capable of doing to prove to ourselves that, yeah, we can do this, we can figure it out. It's interesting because, the 3, again, it's about the messaging, it's about the written spoken word, and again, how we communicate and share that messaging. And I pulled a tarot card for you all, 8s, and you got the Emperor. And this is about wisdom. This is about teacher type of energy. And so this coupled with the 3, again, brings in that energy of you finding your words to share your expertise, to say what you want to say. And it's coming or meant to come from a place of your expertise, your wisdom. And, 8s are the business-minded leader. So there's something where you're ready to get your messaging out there. You are the expert in whatever this is, whether you feel ready or not, whether you feel like you're there or not, you're ready to get started. You are the authority in whatever this is. And so you are meant to take that authoritative stance and share that information, that wisdom, that knowledge, whatever it may be, to help others, to help to uplift, empower, inspire others in some way. But people will likely be looking to you, and you will likely fall into some kind of leadership role around this full moon. Again, the spotlight is on you. And so how do you want to be seen? How do you want to be heard at this time? And just make sure it comes from a place, obviously, like of integrity, authenticity. And, if your messaging is solid, if the intention behind your messaging is solid, you can really create some strong foundations at this time. You can create some strong movements at this time. You can be the leader in something quite great at this time. But it stems from your experience, your expertise, your wisdom that you're looking to share. And the energy of the 3 and the Emperor are saying, we're all looking at you. You have what we need, so please share it. This is not a time to minimize yourself or to allow self-doubt to win, so to speak. So whatever opportunity presents itself at this time for you to put yourself out into the world, I would say take it. Even if you have to create that opportunity, this is the time to go for it. You're ready, whether you feel like you are or not. And you're certainly supported energetically for sure. Life path number 9, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 13-4 for this full moon. And so this full moon is going to bring some kind of closure, some kind of perhaps ending, some kind of shift that's necessary for you all to look at your foundations, because you're going to be working with the vibration, again, of the 4. So this is foundational. So there's some kind of shift, again, 13, that needs to occur with your foundations, with how you see yourself, with how you present yourself, how you show up to your relationships. Things that you might have to work through emotionally from the past might resurface at this time. There could be some things that come up around your physical health that need to be addressed at this time. And some changes made in how you kind of approach your physical health. Also, it talks about, 4 energy can be about the physical home, the structure of the home. So if things come up around this time around your home, make sure you get it checked out. If the leaky roof, don't let it go, because then it'll turn into something larger than it needs to be. So address whatever comes up for you at this time. 4 energy forces you to look at the details. It kind of funnels everything down to the finer details as you look at it, see what's working, see what's not working, make appropriate adjustments. And because the 13 is here, there's some kind of like death, transformation, rebirth that needs to occur that's foundational. So it doesn't have to be massive. It can just be, again, a shift in a belief system, the way you think about yourself, the beliefs that you say yes to, the thoughts that you say yes to. Our thoughts drive our actions drive our experience. So there might need to be some tweaks in that. Or again, how you approach your physical health and how you treat your physical home, your soul home, right? Your body. Could be some adjustments that need to be made there. And again, they can be some minor adjustments, but this energy, this cycle is helping you to see what needs to shift, what needs to change. Also, this is a cycle where it's probably going to bring up for you where it is that you might sabotage yourself, whether it's with your thoughts or your actions or your relationships, right? Where you might sabotage relationships. Again, like fear of getting hurt. So you sabotage the connection so you don't have to go through that process. This cycle can have you look at your self-limiting beliefs and your self-sabotaging beliefs and actions, and make some modifications, or at least start in that direction as needed. Also, this can have you looking at or gaining a deeper understanding of what your limitations are, and, embracing those limitations. Some things, whether they're physical or mental or spiritual or whatever the limitation might be, it might be temporary, or it might be more long-term, or it might be just something we have to learn to live with and manage. But, shaming ourselves for those limitations or losing confidence because of them doesn't serve anyone. So when you move through a 4 cycle, it can help you to clearly see what it is that you're working with. What limitations do you have that need to be embraced? And again, where you have those limitations, that's the call to reach out to people who have the strengths in those areas, collaborate, work with others, and build what you're looking to build without trying to do it all yourself. But recognizing and honoring those limitations actually can empower. It can be empowering as opposed to disempowering, feeling like, well, I can't do X, Y, and Z because I have these limitations. No, you just have to find your way to work with them or manage them if you can't overcome them. Also, this 4 cycle is about responsibility. What is yours to take responsibility for? What do you need to commit to? What do you need to follow through with? What do you need to put in the sort of the heavy lifting? What area do you need to put in the heavy lifting? Where is it that you're giving up too quickly that you need to sort of dive in and commit to and see through to completion? Because with 4 energy, you're not going to see the rewards instantaneous. It's one of those times where you have to commit for the long haul, put in the effort, and you'll see the rewards. And the rewards are always in direct proportion to the effort you put in. But there's likely going to be some shifts with your responsibilities that could come up. You might see more work come in, more contracts, again, requiring more responsibility. And you're going to have to make sure that because you're also responsible for yourself and your health. So you're going to have to make sure that you don't burn the candle at both ends, make time for rest and rejuvenation and all those pieces. But this is about looking at the greater details. And within those details, where do some shifts need to take place? Also, where is it that maybe you've been too rigid or controlling when it comes to a circumstance or a situation or a relationship? And where do you need to loosen your grip a little bit and have more patience and more understanding and more surrender? We can't control everything, and we're not meant to do everything on our own. So working with others happens a lot better when we're not trying to control the dynamic. I pulled the tarot card for you all, and you got the 10 of Cups. And so this is a beautiful energy. And this just kind of reiterates that, when you go in and you kind of work through some of those foundational fault lines that might come up for you, you might see where those are. When you put in the time and the energy to kind of clean that up and address what needs addressing, you're going to connect with people more deeply. You're going to build and foster deeper relationships and sort of improve that connectivity. And so your relationships can really thrive with this cycle. You might meet someone who is going to be in your life long term. Could absolutely be a cycle that leads to marriage or like long-term relationships, building your family in some way. And that can bring a lot of fulfillment and happiness. But it's not something that you're meant to rush through. It's not something that you're meant to sort of force, but you are meant to take it step by step, take responsibility where responsibility is needed. And what you're building now, for energy is a building energy, what you're building now can lead to this 10 of Cups energy, which is a very happy home life, happy relationships, fulfillment, and satisfaction in many areas of your life. So those foundations are important. And so when we move through 4 cycles, we can't ignore the details. So pay attention. This full moon is going to be highlighting for you exactly where you need to look. Life Path 11-2, you are going to be working with a vibration of the 15-6 for this full moon. Now, this is an interesting energy because we've got the 15-6, which deals with basically unconditional love and conditional love and the differences between the two and where it is that, we keep ourselves restricted, we sabotage ourselves or we sabotage relationships, where it is that we are overly bound by our expectations or the conditions that we put on ourselves or others. And that can affect our relationship with ourselves as well as our relationships with others. And then the vibration of the 6, which is about unconditional love, truth, and honesty. And so it's kind of like this tug of war between these two sides of yourself and moving through the experiences that you have to move through in order to experience what love is not, so that you can recognize what love is when it actually comes through or when you're showing up to relationships and connections. And this cycle of the 15-6 reminds me of a quote by the Dalai Lama, which is, "People take different roads seeking fulfillment and happiness. Just because they're not on your road doesn't mean they've gotten lost." And so again, there's a really strong emphasis here because the full moon is also about endings, closure, things coming to completion, removing things that are no longer working or moving them off our plate. And the full moon kind of shines a light on what needs to close out, what needs to shift, change, and make space for or make room for something much more aligned. Working with the 15-6, this brings in that taking a closer look at how we're showing up to our connections and how we're showing up to ourselves as well. But, it brings in the element of perfectionism. Where is it that we expect perfection when it comes to ourselves, to others? Because perfectionism is that carrot you're going to be chasing forever. You're never going to reach it. And it's just going to destroy, how you see yourself, how you see your accomplishments, how you see others, how you see their accomplishments. And it can be very deteriorating. Also, where is it that you have that need for control when it comes to your connections and your relationships? Where do you need to control the environment? And it might be that your intention is good. Maybe you want the other person to be safe and happy and all those things. So you try to control or manipulate the situation to ensure that. But really, that just ends up being disempowering to yourself and to the other person. Everyone has their own journey that they have to experience. We can't do it for them. This cycle can also focus on where is it that maybe you take it upon yourself to maybe meddle in other people's business that isn't your own. And so it's that opportunity to recognize, first we have to take care of our own backyard and then take care of, show up in support of others and asking, what is it that they feel that they need, not sort of imposing or inserting what we believe they need for, their experience. So it sounds like a heavier cycle. It's really not. It's just helping you to see, we all want to show up and be in environments where it's unconditional loving, right? We don't want to show up to connections where the other person has just a bag full of expectations and conditions ready and waiting for us. And we don't want to show that up in that way either. But we tend to do it that way because that's how we've been conditioned to do it, right? Usually we see love relationships as conditional and I love you if, I support you if. And so it just breaks down the dynamic. So this is an opportunity just to kind of see where is it that maybe there needs to be some greater release, some greater understanding, as well as greater conversations about what you need, how you feel, and holding space for the other person to share what they need and how they feel about the situation. So it's just an opportunity to get to a higher octave within your relationship to yourself and with others through that work of recognizing, where it is that those expectations and conditions are really sabotaging the situation. And that work can help you to meet yourself where you're at in this moment, as well as meet others where they're at in this moment, and be okay with that as you continue to move step by step, forward. I pulled a tarot card for you all, and you got the 9 of Wands. And so, there's something that's been a struggle, or has felt like it's been a burden, or has felt like it's been just taken a lot of your energy. It's been draining. It's just been a lot of work, and it could be a relationship. It could be something outside of that. But again, I come back to check your expectations, check your need for whatever this is to be perfect before you're okay with it. Because again, that need for perfectionism is also an expectation that you're never going to meet. You might meet it for a brief moment, but then you're going to slip into, that the next thing that's going to lead to, it's just a downward spiral. So with the 9 of Wands coming through, it's kind of that energy of like, you're almost there. So what do you need to do to be able to put that final peg where it needs to go and be done with whatever this is? And because that 15 is in this equation, again, I feel like it's something where you may be creating a situation, or you might be making things more difficult than they need to be. And by doing this work, by looking closer at where it is that, you are showing up with the expectations or the conditions, it's going to make things more difficult. And it's going to feel like it's just impossible, right? The connection, the work, whatever. So this is an opportunity just to take a closer look at that. And this full moon is going to shine a spotlight on where that is and where you need to show yourself more grace, and also others. And, where it is that you can be more generous with patience for yourself and others as you figure this out and work through it. And again, this full moon will show you where to start. Life Path 22-4. So we're going to be working with the vibration of the 26-8 for this full moon. And because it's a full moon, there's something likely that will come to a close, or that we'll get greater clarity on, and we can kind of gain a greater understanding of, and then we'll know what steps to take next. But because it's the 26-8, there's this strong energy around relationships, but really business relationships. So colleagues, how our relationship with our boss, or if we're the boss, our relationship with our subordinates, and what that dynamic looks like. So, what is the power dynamic between those connections, those relationships? If it is a business partner, what's going on there that needs attention? What's going on there that maybe there needs to be a greater conversation, greater understanding, greater collaborative effort in order to sort of balance the energy, so to speak, when it comes to those power dynamics. And it might just be a conversation. So like if you're looking to work with someone or collaborate with someone, or again, this translates also into like colleagues or your boss or whatever, right? Or if you're not working and it's like volunteer work or something like that, then the people that you connect with to make the thing happen. It could just be a deeper conversation needs to be had, and that you need to express your needs and your vision, and again, what you need in order to feel like you can thrive within the environment or the situation, but also be open to what the other people have to say when it comes to their needs, and find that common ground, right? Find a way to work together in order to secure or to reach the goal or the vision. But yeah, because that 2 is there, there's like a coming together. There's something that needs greater balance, some kind of healing perhaps, finding common ground, right? Compromise, not sacrifice, but compromise, finding a better way to work with others. And that 6 energy is that sense of community, right? Bringing in that environment, making that environment, or creating that environment where all people feel sort of safe to express themselves and what their needs are, and not one person trying to control the dynamic. Also, as 22-4s, a big part of our journey is to collaborate, to work with others, to build something significant, but not alone. We're not meant to do it independently. And so as we move through a 26-8 cycle, this is giving us an opportunity to figure out who we want to work with, who we feel has what it is needed in order to accomplish whatever we're trying to accomplish. And so it might mean reaching out to people, right? Putting out the feelers, having conversations, but being open also, because sometimes fours, right, 22 fours can be rigid in their thinking because we can be very solution focused. We see the solution. We don't need someone to help us to do it. We can do it. But then we end up working harder, not smarter. So this is an opportunity to potentially connect with people who you might work really well with, who you might collab really well with. And so it's an opportunity to have those bigger conversations where you're not trying to control the environment or the dynamic, but you're open to other people's, what they bring to the table and their expertise and all those things. And you're open to understanding that, there's more ways than one to do things, and your way isn't always the best way. So having those conversations can actually lead to quite a bit of success down the road under this vibration. Also, this is one of those times where I would say speak up for yourself and advocate for yourself. If you're in a position where you need to ask for more money or a raise or promotion, or if there's some kind of power dynamic happening within the office environment that is making you feel uncomfortable or whatnot, you don't have to figure it out and do it on your own. You need to, again, advocate for yourself, have the conversation, and find a solution with others. And if you don't find a solution, then you might have to look for something else, look for a different environment that's more suitable. That all comes under this 8 cycle. I pulled a tarot card for us and we got the King of Cups. And so of course this comes through as emotional maturity, right? So be very careful about being overly reactive in situations where it would be easy to be overly reactive. This is going to be a cycle where you're going to have to be kind of step up into a leadership role. Again, advocate for yourself and what you need, but also be very present and open to hearing what others have to say and what others need and meeting those needs. And so emotional maturity is going to be your best sort of ally during this cycle. Because if you're overreactive, or if you're too stubborn, or if you're, again, sort of fall into that really dominating energy, you're going to push people away, or you're going to sort of exclude people, and you're going to have to clean that up down the road. So you're going to kind of face the consequences of that. So this is one of those times when I would say manage your emotions, right? Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Make sure that you're responding to situations as opposed to reacting, and then you'll get the most out of this. So don't let your emotions be the driving force in any of your sort of engagements during this full moon. Keep a level head about you and take the time needed to sort of go through and process the situation before responding if need be. So get yourself in a place where your emotional maturity is coming through, not your emotional reactivity. And that's how you're going to get the most out of this cycle. Life Path 33.6, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 37.1 for this illumination. And so this is a very high octave of the 1. So, this is 1 energy is always about leadership. It's always about you taking the reins within your own life, speaking up for yourself, being an advocate, taking your creativity to the next level, using your ingenuity to create the vision, that you're looking to create at this time. And so with the vibration of the 37 behind you, this is very, very supportive. And you could see friends, like partners, business partners, or partners coming in to support you, to help you to achieve your goals, your vision. And it can feel like the wind gets put back in your sails a bit, like a reminder that you're not meant to do it alone, whatever it might be. Yes, you're meant to be the leader when it comes to your vision, your goals, but you don't have to achieve them all alone. And so with this vibration, there's this community type of energy. There's this very supportive, networking type of energy. You, of course, have to be open to it and accept it, but there's the potential with this cycle of something that you initiate that stems from you and your ideas and your vision and your goals being quite fruitful down the road, being quite successful down the road with this supportive energy behind you. So this is a time to say yes and to accept the support from those who are going to help you to bring that yes to life. This is a cycle under the illumination, under the spotlight of this full moon, where your creativity is sparked, your creative talents come out, and you're able to find some kind of outlet or many outlets for expression in those areas, where your talents lie. So you could stumble upon talents you didn't even know that you had. And I would say this is the time to be curious about it, to explore deeper. And especially if it's tied to an idea or an inspiration that comes to you, that's yours, that's your egg, right? That you want to nurture and grow. Because again, under the 37-1, any kind of business ventures or creative ventures, it doesn't have to be necessarily for career, but anywhere where your creativity is flowing through you and you have an outlet for it and you're putting it out into the world, you could benefit from that in many different areas and many different levels. Financially, making new acquaintances, new connections, new friends, new collaborations, all these things, right? New ideas for creations, you name it. But it's an opportunity for you to remember or to recognize your gifts and to find ways to share those gifts or to build on them in some way. And I would also say be open to travel during this time if the opportunity presents, because the people you meet, the places you go, kind of the landscapes can really ignite a lot of passion and inspiration and creative ideas for you. So not surprisingly, I pulled the tarot card and you got the Queen of Pentacles. So again, this is that energy of stability and solid, like you've built something solid here and it's been successful and financially rewarding, and again, brings in greater sense of security and even confidence to some degree. But this is you being that leader. This is you taking the initiative and building your enterprise, so to speak, or being sort of the lead in that, but collaborating and working with others or doing what's necessary in order to achieve that. But you can feel very solid, very secure in what you're building, in what you have built. And you will likely see, again, the financial rewards from that. So anything you initiate at this time or anyone you collaborate with at this time could usher in significant success, whatever success means for you. But this one energy coupled with the Queen of Pentacles is the reminder that it's not going to happen without you. So you have to take the initiative, you have to show up, put in the effort, and it'll be worth it in the long run. Life Path 44-8, you are going to be working with a vibration of the 48-3 for this illumination. And really with this cycle, this is an opportunity to celebrate. This is things could be coming in for you at this time that help you to achieve some of your goals. You could see rewards coming in from achieving those goals. And again, manage your expectations. It doesn't always have to be like huge, grandiose things occurring when we move through these cycles. Sometimes it can be really soft, gentle whispers, but any win is a win. Any success is success, especially on the journey of the 44. And so, take your wins. So it could be something very small, but very significant that comes in at this time to remind you that you're on the path, you're on your right path, you're exactly where you need to be. This is a time when you could feel really generous, really loving, very, very supported, and you might want to share that abundance with those around you. And this is a great time to do that. Also, for some of you, new love relationships could come in at this time, or just new relationships, new friendships, deeper connections with friends, family, loved ones. Or you might meet some new friends at this time that can be very impactful in your life. I would also say, this is a time where I would say be aware that what seems most important now may turn out to be a bit less important in the future. So I would say that as these successes, as these goals are reached, as the rewards come in, as you attain what it is you've been looking to attain, if you don't feel very satisfied with the results, then this is an opportunity to look within and to see why that is. That's what I mean. Like if you're always expecting the big, grandiose rewards and achievements, you're going to be disappointed a lot of the times because life doesn't work that way. Sometimes we just have to recognize the small wins, the whispers, the breadcrumbs that are saying, yes, keep going because you're on the right path. And if we don't take the time to acknowledge those and embrace those and celebrate those little wins, then, when they come in, we can overlook them and we can feel like nothing works out for us. Nothing is going right. Nothing goes well. And that's not true because we live in a world of polarities. So even if we're moving through challenges, there's always something working. There's always something that is, putting the wind back in our sails as maybe it's being depleted. But there's always those polarities. So as you move through a 48-3 cycle, it's helping you to notice the winds, notice the small, subtle, those little puffs of air that are coming in to continue to support you on this journey, even through the difficulties. And you will sometimes get those big wins, and that's great. And that calls for celebration as well. But don't overlook the little things. And also, this is one of those times where if you see those rewards come in or you see abundance come in at this time, and you're not feeling fulfilled from it or satisfied, then that's a great indicator to share it, to help to alleviate the sufferings of others, to help to uplift, empower, inspire others in some way. And through that experience, that can actually fill up your cup a lot faster than the actual rewards that came in for you. And I pulled a tarot card for you all, and you've got the 8 of Cups. And so this is one of those cards where it's pushing you outside of your comfort zone. It's pushing you towards the unknown. It's pushing you to try something new, different. It's almost like maybe maybe you're just tired of your circumstances. Maybe you're just feeling like it's become too repetitive, too mundane. And so there can be this urge to travel, to see what else is out there, to try something new, to go back to school, to challenge yourself in some way. And it's interesting because, there's this energy of like having to leave behind what feels comfortable, what feels known, in search of something new, different, exciting, in search of greater wisdom, in search of greater experiences that will unlock greater wisdom. And you all are the wisdom keepers. So this is a big part of your journey. But there's this sense of like leaving behind the flat ground, the flat earth, and starting to climb the mountain, right? Moving into the mountain that you don't know what lies on at the summit. You don't even know how you're going to get there, but you're ready for that challenge. You're ready for that, to push yourself to see what you can achieve. And you know that you'll unlock a tremendous amount of wisdom along the way. There's this desire or this urge to travel that road less traveled and to experience what a lot of people don't get to experience. And so I would say if you're feeling that urge, if you're feeling that pull, that desire, then this is one of those times where I would say it's time to respond to that inner urge for something higher, much more aligned, or leveling up. There's a whole world waiting for you outside of your comfort zone. So you got to keep pushing those limits and keep trying new things. And this energy of the 8 of Cups is saying you'll create new memories, you'll create new experiences in the new destination. But first you have to move in that direction.